Okay, shall I just introduce myself?
Yeah,
Yes,
certainly.
sir.
All right, let's do it. Well, so if you guys, those of you that have never heard me speak, have never suffered through me speaking before, let me rephrase it. So I'm a Dutch immigrant. I immigrated to this country when I was 6 years old with my brother Albert, and my mother's Vansha. And we ended up in Denver, Colorado. I lived there 30 years, really struggled initially. I remember we ate expired food because that's all we could afford. There was a store that actually sold expired food. We drank powdered milk with our cereal in the morning because it was cheaper than real milk. And trust me, it sounds better than it is. And I wore clothes from the Goodwill and the Salvation Army all the way through junior high school till I finally got disgusted when I was 14 because I was tall and lied about my age at Burger King so I could get a job flipping burgers so I could buy my own clothes. And some of you may have had it harder than I did. I just knew I wanted more. And luckily, my mom had an incredible work ethic. So my mom babysat kids so we'd have enough money to eat. And with her babysitting money, she was a bit of an entrepreneur. So she invested in the stock market successfully. And she also invested in real estate. Her first real estate acquisition was a house right across the street from us that she bought when I was about 14 for about 30 grand. And then when I was 17, she told me she'd make $20,000 in her sleep. And I was like, what? You made 20 grand, you didn't do anything? Screw college, I'm getting into real estate. So I went and got my real estate broker's license right when I turned 18, which you could do back then. I was actually a broker. I could have my own office and, they got smart. Now you need some experience to be a broker, but and I was smart enough to go work for another broker, but I was still living at home. And my first year in real estate, I made about 8 grand. My second year, maybe 10 grand. But my third year, I made over $100,000, which back in 1980 was some pretty decent change. And so what happened between year 2 and year 3 that caused me to 10x my income? Well, what happened was I met a guy. I was actually dating his daughter. He was the broker I was working for, actually. His name was Gino. And he taught me about the importance of mindset and psychology and how 80 to 90% of your success in anything is just that. It's your mindset psychology. Only 10 to 20% is the mechanical information, the real estate or whatever it is. It's the do and it's the keep doing. It's the getting off your butt and making it happen. And that's mindset and psychology. And so, fast forward to today, I've owned over 2,000 houses I've rented long-term. I own thousands of apartment units now. In 2006, my net worth went up $17 million while I slept. And you might say, wow. And I said, wow. And I got a head so big, I could barely fit it through a door. I thought I was a real estate god. It's about $8,300 an hour over the year, if you want to do the math. And when you act like that, God of the universe will give you a nice little smackdown. Well, that was 2008 and 9. I lost $50 million in 2008 and 9. And so what I'm known for talking about on my podcast and, my boot camps, is really the mindset it took to have 50 million to lose in the first place. But more importantly, maybe is the mindset it took to recover from losing it all. And so what I want to start with you guys is I want to give you some mindset related strategies for success. And then we'll talk about some fundamentals of multifamily after that. And I know some of you are like, oh, come on, let's get on with the real estate. Well, trust me when I say this is more important than the real estate. Okay. Trust me. This is, like I said, this is how I had 50 million to lose and how I got it back. So it starts like I've got a boot camp coming up in Orlando, and I'll give you guys a hell of a deal if you want to come. But the reason I bring this up is the first thing we do is goal setting on steroids, because how do you get anything if you don't know what it is, right? You got to know what it is you want. You got to know why you want it, because you've got to create a burning desire. You got to create that hunger so that you push through any fear that you have, so that you push through any limiting beliefs that you have, maybe so you just get uncomfortable. We know that comfort zone is a nice warm place. And we also know nothing freaking grows there, right? So you got to push through it, and you need the goals to do that. And so that's the first thing we do at my boot camp for like an hour and 15 minutes. And by the way, write down this, if you can, I don't know if you can pull up the link tree if it's too low there, but on my QR code, but if not, write down rodslinks.com. Okay. Because if you can't make my boot camp, it's in Orlando, September 15th through the 17th. But if you can't make it, I do a goal setting workshop every New Year's Day, and it's at the bottom of my link tree. Okay. Now don't go do it now, but trust me, it's there. There's a guide you can download, but again, goals are so important. People spend more time planning a birthday party than they do designing their lives. Okay. And doing your goals is designing your life. So, like I said, I'll give you a hell of a deal if you want to come to the boot camp. And if you're going to come, you don't need to do the goals. But if not, go there. Bring your spouse. Have them do their goals there. Have your kids, if they're over 10 years old, do their goals. That's designing your life. Okay. So it starts there. I'm going to tell you, about 3% of the world's population has goals. And guess who the other 97% work for, right? So, that's a Bob Proctor quote. I don't know if it's real, but it's probably pretty darn close. And so, and I call it goal setting on steroids, because you've got to know what it is you want and why you want it, both positive and negative reasons why. And we get into all that. So here's what goals do. They trigger something in your brain called your reticular activating system. And that's that filter, that subconscious filter that filters out all the noise so you don't go crazy, but it also points you in the direction it thinks you're interested in. Okay, your brain does this subconsciously. And the greatest example of it in action is when you first buy a car. You never really noticed them before then. You buy the car and you see them everywhere. That's your reticular activating system. The same thing applies to your goals. So again, it starts with that. And then after you do your goals, you've got to make a decision. And like when I lost everything, I had to make a decision to get off, my pity party and go make something happen. But maybe some of you haven't started this business yet, and you've got to make a decision. Now, when I say decision, I'm not talking about 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I'm not talking about dipping your toe in the water. I'm talking about it is freaking done. That's a decision, okay? And the Latin root for the word decision means to cut off, okay? So if you're going to attack the island in battle, you burn your ships because you're taking their damn ships home. Okay. That's a decision. Okay. And that's what I'm talking about here. So it starts there. And then, once and that's sometimes that's the biggest decision of your life, right? That could be the biggest decision of your life. And so you've got to make that decision and then you commit. And once you make that decision to commit, you're like a train on a track. But if you're just interested, for example, you're going to get knocked off track. Okay, it's that decision that's critical. And so an example of a decision would be if you're going to if you're going to attack the island in battle, you're going to burn your ships because you're taking their ships home. Okay, that's a decision. It is freaking done. Okay. And so it starts with that. And then you've got to take that first step. Dr. Martin Luther King said, you take that first step in faith, the next step will be revealed. Okay. And Lao Tzu said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but you got to take that first step. And that little step can be the biggest step of your life as well. And I will tell you, a lot of people in the multifamily business are very analytical. And if you're on this call and that's you, I love you and you know who you are. And you also know that you have to check off every single box before you make a move. You can't do that here. You're not going to see the whole pathway to get into this, or frankly, just about any business. Okay. But you've got to take that first step in faith and recognize that the next step will be revealed. And so, a great analogy for you, if you're analytical, so that you go out and do this, would be to realize that you can drive all the way across the United States at night with your headlight only seeing 60 feet in front of you. You'll make it. Other people have made it before you. Yes, you may have some obstacles in the way. You may have some setbacks, but it's been done before. It's the same way with this business, okay? But you got to take that first step. I will tell you, some of my most successful students, my warriors, I call them my warriors. They're my coaching students. And by the way, I'm going to brag for a minute. Right now, they own somewhere between 170 and 180,000 units that we know of. And I've only been teaching for 5 years. In fact, it's kind of a mess back here, but you can see some of the thank you cards back here. I've got hundreds of them on the wall behind me from my students who've, achieved financial success or other successes in their lives. It's my greatest gift in life. I get cards and emails and DMs almost literally every day. And, it's my greatest blessing. But anyway, so you got to take that first step. Then you have to take massive freaking action. Okay. Action mitigates fear. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, it starts with a decision, then you've got to take the first step, then you have to take that massive action. And, a lot of people have fear or limiting beliefs. Let's talk about fear first. What is fear? F everything and run. I like to think it's, false evidence appearing real, but it's also face everything and rise. I'm going to tell you, the most successful people on the planet have fear. They just push through in spite of it. It's the ones that don't push ahead, that, never take action, let the fear stop them. Okay. So you got to push through the fear. And so that's fear. Now let's talk about limiting beliefs. So when I immigrated this country, I got thrown into school. Okay. And I found out what bullies were for the first time. So I got my butt kicked occasionally. Okay. And then my mom, proud Dutch woman that she is, thought it'd be a great idea to send me to school in wooden shoes and those leather shorts the Germans wear for Oktoberfest. So I got my ass kicked again, and then I had bullies at the end of my street, and they would chase me home, and she chased them off with a fly swatter. So the next day, butt kicking. And I came up with this limiting belief that I wasn't good enough, and I used to ask myself, how can I show them I'm good enough? And a lot of people have these limiting belief systems. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not old enough. And I'm not young enough. I'm not strong enough. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. Well, here's the thing I want you to realize, okay? If you're consciously aware of one of these, and sometimes they're subconscious, there's a reason the acronym for belief systems is BS, because 99% of them are BS, okay? But, we believe they're factual and they're not. So if you've got one of these, like you don't feel like you don't deserve success or something crazy like that, drag it out into the daylight. Look at it with your adult rational mind. Recognize that it's BS, and I promise you it will burn up. I used to be afraid to raise my hand in front of 10 kids in class. Now I speak in front of tens of thousands a year. And I spoke in front of 12 to 1,500 2 months ago, and I've got 1,200 coming to this boot camp. Let me mention the boot camp real quick, okay? When you go to Rod's links, you'll see my multifamily boot camp. It's 3 days of training. It's not a sales pitch. It's just training, and you can come for $197. It's ridiculous, okay? And I have found that I give until it hurts, and it always comes back to me, okay? And so again, it's not a big sales pitch. Every aspect of this business, you can come for $197. The link is there, and it includes my document library, which I spent tens of thousands on, our deal evaluator software, which is the best out there, bar none, to evaluate a deal. My Finding Deals course. I mean, it's a screaming deal. And I'm going to tell you, if you come and you don't love it, I don't mean like it, I mean freaking love it, I'll give you your money back afterwards. It's never happened, but there's a first time for everything. So, the only complaint we ever get is the food sucked or the room was too cold or something like that. It's never about the content and the training, okay? But the event, it really is extraordinary. I've got 3 panels each day, billions represented by the panelists to answer all your questions. It's just really awesome. And so it's in Orlando, September 15th through the 17th, $197. It's no brainer. If you're serious about this business, you need to be there, period. It's the only live event I do a year. It will sell out. It always does. But it's brutal on me because it's me for 3 days. So I can only do it once a year. But anyway, so let's see, what do we just talk about? Fear and limiting beliefs. So you got to push through the fear and the limiting beliefs. And then let's talk about focus for a minute. Listen, if you're on this call at 8:15 on Eastern time, and you're here to become a better human being, you are a leader. There's no question you're a leader. And I'm going to tell you right now, the world needs leaders more than ever. Don't get me started on all the crap that's going on politically and with the news. You don't even know what to believe anymore. And I'm going to tell you, as a leader, your focus is critical, okay? You've got to manage your focus. Like I said, stay out of the crap that's on the news. It's almost all crap. You don't even know what to believe, like I said. So you've got to manage that. And stand guard at the door to your mind. Bring in the good stuff. I'm blessed to host the largest commercial real estate podcast in the world. We're over 17 million downloads. And the reason it does so well is I do a clip every week called Own Your Power. It's a motivational clip, okay? And you give me 5 minutes a week, I'll juice you. I promise you, okay? So there's hundreds of them there. So I hope you'll check it out. The link for the podcast is also on my link tree. And I'm going to tell you guys, opportunity is upon us, okay? The you-know-what is about to hit the fan. There's 1.6 trillion in commercial debt coming due by the end of next year. And they either have to sell or refinance, and neither one is very positive right now. Sales are down 75, 80%. Refinancing, they have to buy the loans down because the interest rates are so high and the debt service coverage ratio doesn't cover the debt. So they have to put millions in some of these properties just to get the loan down to a place where a lender will sniff it. And then there's rate caps. They have to buy a rate cap. I'm going to tell you, that keeps the rate from going up more than a certain percent over a period of time. Let me give you an example. And I just checked this 6 months ago. It's probably worse than this now. In 2020, if you wanted a 3-year, 3%, $100 million rate cap, okay? $100 million rate cap, 3% for 3 years, it cost you $23,000, okay? That same rate cap 6 months ago, it's worse than that now, I know it is. That same rate cap 6 months ago for 100 million for 1 year, forget 3 years, you'd never get 3 years. 3% for 1 year is 2.3 million. Okay. And they have to buy it. So here's the thing. We're going to see a lot of deals go south, guys. Okay. We put one LOI in today. We're putting another one in tomorrow. That's a letter of intent. That's the thing that precedes a contract. Okay, Willie, I'm going to have to watch my profanity. I said, who's on your screen? I'll be better. Okay. I'll behave myself. Okay. So, anyway, so, and I completely lost my train of thought. Anyway, it's never pretty when you lose your mind. All right, what was I just talking about? Help me out here.
Recap.
Yes. Anyway, so again, guys, deals are coming. If you're to talk about being in the right place in the right freaking time, it is right now, okay? Because it smells like 2007 to me all over again, and it's different, of course. You know, back then, if you fogged a mirror, you could borrow money and buy a house. This is different. But and it's not going to happen as badly in residential, but in commercial, it's a train wreck. Office occupancy is down to like in the 80%. Okay. And these assets don't break even unless they're at 90%, 85%. So a bunch of stuff's going south right now, guys. In multifamily, there's $500 billion coming due just in multifamily by the end of next year. I know some really large operators that are in big trouble. Okay. So guys, deals are coming. That's all I want to say. And so focus is critical, okay? Because if you get caught up in the news, you know, the news is going to make it seem much worse than it is. Here's the thing to remember. The news organizations are not public service organizations. They are for profit, okay? They're not there to help. They're there to scare you and get you to, you know, watch and click on their stuff. And you know, and again, it's mostly, you know what, and it's baloney and you don't even know what to believe. But if you get sucked into that, whatever you focus on gets larger, both positive or negative. And as a leader, you got to manage your focus, even if you're just leading your family. So you got to bring in the good stuff. Listen to my Own Your Power clips. I go on YouTube and I watch Shoulders Coming Home. I cry like a little girl, but that's the good stuff. Bring in the good stuff. Don't, you know, watch the negativity. You know, I'll get people that call me and say, how do I get out of student loan debt? And I'm like, wrong question. How do you make so much money that the debt's irrelevant? That's the right question. Again, focus is power. Focus is clarity, but you got to manage it. You know, they asked Mother Teresa if she was anti-war. She said, no, I'm pro-peace, right? You get the drift here. So really pay attention to your focus. And I'm going to tell you, you know, I get excited about my podcast. I've had 17 million downloads. I listen to 2 podcasts. Okay. One of them is Joe Rogan. The other one is Tim Ferriss. I try to get both sides of the aisle. Okay. I'm definitely more on one side and it ain't this side. Okay. So anyway, but I'm telling you that I listen to Tim Ferriss, which is this side, only because first of all, the conversations are extraordinary, very intelligent conversations, but he interviews the best of the best in the world, the best athletes, Michael Phelps, NBA, NFL players, you know, actors like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jamie Foxx, Ed Norton, Hugh Jackman, billionaires like Ray Dalio, biggest CEOs, the biggest companies in the world like Zuckerberg. And he deconstructs their success, you know, how they achieve their success. And I started to hear a pattern. They almost all meditate. What does meditation enhance? Focus, right? That's a clue, guys. The most successful people on the planet have the highest degree of focus. And I don't know about you, but I'll be sitting watching Netflix, scrolling through my stupid social media. Now that I'm single, I'm doing that a lot more. And that kills your focus, right? It absolutely kills it. So, you know, pay attention to that. Your focus is super important. Next thing I want to talk about is playing to your strengths, okay? This multifamily real estate game is a team sport. And there are lots of different hats you can wear. You are not going to take down 20, 30, 40, $50 million properties by yourself. It's just not going to happen. And that's okay. But see, the beautiful thing about this business is that it is a team sport. Okay. And so you could be the person that underwrites the deals if you're one of the analytical people on the call and you love that. You know, maybe you're the mouthpiece like me and you're out there building relationships with brokers and investors and, you know, sellers and so on and so forth. Or maybe you're the asset management person. You're good with processes and management. So there's lots of different hats you can wear. You can raise money, you can find deals. So, but you got to play to your strengths. Why? Because your strengths are your greatest assets. You don't try to build your weaknesses. You play to your strengths and then you hire a line or partner for your weaknesses. And that's You know, when I see that, when I see people in a partnership playing to their strengths, I know success is inevitable. Okay, because you know, when somebody is playing in their strengths, first of all, they love what they do. And they never work another day in their lives because they love what they do, right? So work is play. So that's another reason to play in your strengths. But I'm going to tell you that when you are playing in your strengths, you're going to be passionate. And in any business, you have to influence people, and passion is required to influence people. So again, play to your strengths, focus on what you're good at. If you come to my boot camp, I will have you get up and network with people, and I'll have you tell them what your superpower is. What are you good at? And connect with people that are better at what you're not good at. And I will tell you, tons of teams have been formed at my boot camps, but you want to play to your strengths. Okay. Super, super important. And let me say something else to you that I passed up. You know, actually, I didn't get there yet. Never mind. I didn't get there yet. I haven't talked about failure yet. I don't let me forget if I forget. Okay, play into your strengths. But so again, you're going to be passionate. You're going to be able to influence people if you're playing in what you're good at. Now let's talk about your peer group. You've obviously got a kick butt peer group right here with all these people. These are people that want more. But I'm going to tell you, you know, the sad reality is of a lot of people default to a peer group they went to school with, or a peer group that they work with. And here's the problem. Those people may have their own fears or limiting beliefs: fear of losing you if you succeed, fear of being humiliated if you succeed, you know, fear of failure, limiting beliefs, so on and so forth. And they may hold you back. And I'm going to tell you, when you're first starting this business and you've got a dream, you know, it's a fragile thread. You have to protect it. You have to make sure that you don't allow anybody to break that thread. And those naysayers, and sometimes those naysayers are family. Okay, so I'm going to tell you, love your family, but choose your peers proactively. Choose who you allow to influence you, like a group like this. I'm going to tell you, my Warriors, for example, is another great example of this dynamic. You know, they own between 170 and 180,000 units that I know of, and I've been teaching 5 years. Super proud of that. Most of those are done between Warriors. Okay, you know, you want to be in a peer group that thinks what you think is hard is easy. Okay, and you know, people that are going to push you and hold you accountable. I'll tell you, when I immigrated to, not, my brain is like not firing as, in fact, I need some water. I can tell when my brain's not firing. By the way, if you're tired, you're dehydrated. Okay. When I lost everything in 2008 and 9, I was in Tony Robbins' Platinum Partnership. Okay. And at that time, it was about 130 grand all in. And it's more than that now. But I was around people that were killing it in the crash. Okay. And I mean, remember, I was losing $50 million. So I was not a happy guy. But I was around people that were thriving. And they're like, get up, you puss, 50 million schmillion, go make something happen. Now, is that who you want to be around when the you know what hits the fan? Yes. Nod if you're still awake, please. Thank you. All right. You better believe it. Okay. You want to be around people that want more. Okay. And so be proactive in who you allow to influence you and who you hang out with. Okay. Super important. You know, if you're going to play tennis, do you want to play somebody better than you or worse than you? Right. You know the answer. It's the same way in this business. So, you know, and I'm going to tell you something. This is going to sound crazy. When I get a new coaching student, a warrior in my group, and I'll mention this at the boot camp as well. This business is more who you know than what you know, believe it or not. Okay. I tell my students, focus on the connections. That's more important than the knowledge. It really is. I know that sounds crazy. It sounds counterintuitive, but this business is a team sport, and it's who you know. My most successful warriors by far are the ones that are the most connected in my warrior community, by far. And so we started doing things to facilitate those connections. We have warrior-only events. We introduce them to each other, whatever state they live in, so on and so forth, because it was that dynamic. It's like, man, we got to do something with this. We do random speed dating between our warriors. But again, the point is, you need to get as connected as you possibly can in this business. That is the secret to success. All right. So now let's talk about problems or failure. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, if you're not having problems, respectfully, you're not trying. Okay. And you know it's the truth. Okay. So if you don't have any setbacks or any problems, you're not doing a dang thing. Okay. And you know it and I know it. Okay. So now let's talk about failure. Okay. Now, I call them seminars. Okay. That was a $50 million seminar. It was pretty expensive seminar. I haven't met anybody that spent that much on a seminar before, but I'm going to tell you, it was a seminar, and we failed our way to success, guys. Okay. I have built 27 businesses in my career. I was shocked when I counted a few years ago, 27, several worth tens of millions. I've got 2 right now that are worth tens of millions, but most were spectacular, flaming seminars. Okay. Failures. We failed our way to success. You know, I got to meet the billionaire owner of Spanx, Sarah Blakely. Guys, you won't know. It's the holds the stuff together under their clothes. Okay, beautiful human being, by the way. Started with $5,000, and she's a billionaire. She's in Forbes, worth over $1 billion now. And she told me at a mastermind that we were at together that her dad used to ask her and her brother about on a weekly basis, "What have you failed at this week?" And I thought, what an awesome freaking question to ask your kids so they don't fear failure. Guys, if you have kids that are still impressionable, ask that question so they don't fear failure. Fear regret, much worse than failure. Let me talk about regret for a minute. Okay, there was this nurse in Australia. She was a hospice nurse. Okay, so she took care of patients when they were about to die. And she asked them a question. Okay, her name was Bronnie Ware. And she asked him a question. The question was, do you have any regrets? And she wrote a book about it, something like The 5 Regrets of Dying. You know what the number 1 regret was, guys? It was not living the life I could have lived, living someone else's life, not doing what I know I'm capable of. I can't think of anything worse than that, okay? So again, if you're going to fear anything, fear regret. Don't fear failure, okay? It's only a failure if you don't get back up or you don't get the lesson, okay? Entrepreneurs, we're like sharks. We only die if we stop swimming, okay? So that's what you want to fear, is regret. All right. Now, I want to talk about a couple other quick things, and then I'm going to move into multifamily. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of multifamily, kind of at a high level, but some things that you probably haven't heard before, but I'm going to do what I can to give as much value as I can. The next thing I want to talk about, you may not think is important. I'm going to tell you it's probably the most important thing I'm going to talk about, and that's gratitude. Okay. Why? Because that's how you manifest everything you want into your life, with gratitude. Gratitude is the most foundational emotion we have available to us. Strengthens our immune system, lowers our blood pressure, builds our, keeps us from getting sick. Like I said, brings us closer to our spirituality, and it's how you manifest everything you want in life. And so, implement gratitude into your life, and you'll get whatever you want. I'm going to give you an example of something here. Most mornings, I will sit in this recliner behind me. You can kind of see my blanket there. That's my recliner. Okay. And I will do gratitude. I'll be gratitude for the people in my life that I love, my kids, my coaching students, my foundation. And then I'll do gratitude for the things that I want as if I already have them. Okay. I'll vision boards. I'll look at my vision boards, and I'll do gratitude for what I want to already have it. And I even get emotional sometimes, being grateful for things I don't even have yet. And I know I lost a couple of you analytical ones on that one. This is how I had 50 million to lose and how I got it back. Okay. So ignore it at your peril, because it freaking works. You could call it prayer if you like. Let me show you something else. When you do your goals, this is my planner. Okay. I'm a dinosaur. Yes, I use a paper planner. Oh, there's my 23 goals. Okay. It all starts with gratitude. These are my gratitude pictures. Okay. These pictures have been in here for 23 years. Okay. First pictures of gratitude. These are my kids when they're very young. My son now is 27. My daughter right there is 31. Okay. So you can tell these are a long time ago. There's my kids. Then these are the things that I want as if I already have them. So when I lived in Denver, that's where I immigrated. I always knew I wanted to live on the beach, and there's no beach in Denver. And so I would visualize this, having this house on the beach. I'd visualize the palm trees and the sand and the surf and the waves. And 20 years later, I built this, what's now a $20 million mansion on the beach. I owned the beach on one side. I had my boats on the backside. It was 10,000 square feet. I mean, this house is magnificent. Giant waterfall from the second floor, balcony in the pool. Pool was in magazines. Big spiral staircase up through the middle of the house with wrought iron, art constructed wrought iron railings, just spectacular railings. Elevator, wine cellar. On the second floor, I had aquariums built around the staircase, curved, that had to be specially made in these mold. Aquariums cost me almost 200 grand. So this gives you an idea of the house. Well, I lost that house and all the craziness, okay? But I had 10-foot high glass, 80 feet that looked just like this with travertine floors before I built it, okay? Now, you want to see something really cool? I now live in a compound. I have 6 buildings, okay? The roofs are going on today. They started the roofs today, thank God. And because God's got a sense of humor, I can see my old house across the bay. I lost it in all the craziness. Literally, it's right across the bay from me. It's hilarious. But I've got 6 buildings. It's extraordinary. I'm on 2 acres, guest house, beautiful exercise facility, my video studio, on and on and on. Take a look at these bottom pictures. See the white stone railings in those pictures? Can you see those white railings? That's my backyard. You see the white railing? Is that freaking crazy? This is where I live now in the compound. And then, you know, stupid crap like watches. I've got about $1 million watch collection. I love watches. Lamborghini, I did that stupid stuff too. I had that, the Rolls Royce, the Bentley, all this stuff that I got because I had pictures, guys. Okay. So you do the gratitude. You do gratitude for what you have first, and then you do gratitude for what you want. You bring as much emotion as you can into it, and you're going to get it. I'm just telling you, that's the way God works. That's the way you call it prayer, whatever you want. And one last thing before we move into real estate. I told you about that house I built on the beach. It was extraordinary. Like I said, I mean, just spectacular. And I worked for it for 20 years. Okay. 2 months after I moved in, I'm floating in the pool at night and I'm looking up at this testament to my ego. It's really what it was. Okay. I built it to prove to the world I was good enough. Okay. And my family's inside sleeping. The pool's changing colors, got fiber optic lighting. And I had all the stupid stuff. I had the Maserati back when a Maserati was really cool. It looked like a Ferrari. I had, 2 Mercedes, boats, jet skis. My family's inside sleeping. And I got depressed. And this is 2 months after I moved in. And I don't mean a little depressed. I mean, I was really depressed. And I'm like, what the hell? I've just achieved success like times 10,000. How could I be depressed? Well, when I look back on it, there were several things happening. The first thing is you should never achieve a big goal without having other goals lined up behind it. Because like the good book says, without a vision, the people perish. You've got to have a vision for your future, right? And I didn't know what I was going to do next. So that's one thing. The second thing is it's never about the goals. You need the goals to create that burning desire and that hunger. So you push through fear. So you push through limiting beliefs. So you get uncomfortable because that magnificent life of your dreams is just on the other side of comfort. So you got to push through comfort. You need the goals to do that. But, they say the happiest days of a boat owner's life are the day they buy the boat and the day they sell the boat, right? Happiness isn't from the goals. Happiness comes from progress and growth, okay? You've got to be progressing and growing. That's where happiness comes from. And I didn't know what I was going to do next to grow. So that was the second thing. But the third big one was I was totally focused on Rod. Show the world I matter. Show the world I'm good enough. Blah, blah, blah. Rod this, Rod that. Well, that's the year I went and saw Tony Robbins because I went and bought some books. Like, I'm going to get back. I wasn't into therapy back then. I believe in it now, but I didn't then. I'm like, I got to get my mojo back. And so I got some books. One was Tony's book. And I went and saw him live. And it blew me away. I actually spent 20 years following him around the planet after that. But the moral of the story here is I saw that he fed families for the holidays. And I'm like, what a concept. Do something for someone else. I'm embarrassed to say I had to be 40 to get that memo. So I went home and I called my brother in Denver, who I was seeing for Thanksgiving. This is 23 years ago. I said, bro, let's feed 5 families. And so I flew out there. We bought food for the 5 families. He called a church and found 5 families who really needed help. Third family changed my life. We go up to this woman's door, and it was a Hispanic woman in a house with 5 kids, and it wasn't even a 1-bedroom, it was a crappy 1-bedroom. And she comes out and she sees the food, and we had toys for the kids, and she starts crying, and her kids come out, and the older ones start crying, and I start crying. And I'm blessed to say, in the last 23 years, we've fed somewhere between 130 and 140,000 children here in Sarasota and Bradenton, Florida. Now, don't tune out. There's a real message here. This is not Rod bragging. Okay, there's a real message here. So stay with me. We've done tens of thousands of backpacks filled with school supplies to local kids that don't even have basic supplies for school. 3 weeks ago, we did 1,700 backpacks. We've done tens of thousands of teddy bears to local police departments. Yes, Karen, in Sarasota. Tens of thousands of teddy bears to local police departments for officers to keep in their vehicles if they encounter a child, that's been in a traumatic situation. Now, here's the message in this, okay? we've been taught to believe that we need to achieve to be happy. Like we shouldn't be happy until we've achieved. Okay. But I'm going to tell you, if you give back, you're happily achieving. And I know it's a play on words. Okay. Tony Robbins calls it the science of achievement versus the art of fulfillment. Achievement's a science. If you really want to learn this multifamily, get your butt to my boot camp. It's $197. I'll give you the blueprint. I'll give you the map. You just got to do it. Okay. It's a science. There's no secret sauce. You just have to go do it. But fulfillment is an art. Fulfillment is you got to focus on what juices you. For me, it's kids. Maybe for you, it's animals or the environment or the elderly. And you give back right freaking now. And don't say, yeah, you had money, that's why you do it. No, the money will come faster if you do it. Now, you don't do it for that reason, but that's what you do, okay? And I'm going to tell you, then you'll be fulfilled. I will tell you, I've interviewed billionaires on my podcast. I've interviewed mega millionaires, and I can tell if they were like I was before my epiphany. Okay, that's what I call it. It was an epiphany when I realized there's more to life than Rod, and I feel sad for them. They may have a lot of money, but they're not really happy. They're not fulfilled. And so, guys, figure out what juices you. Give back now. If you don't have money, give your time, and the success will come much faster. I'll give you just one last piece on this. So in my last boot camp, we recognized 10 of my warriors, 10 exemplary warriors. And it wasn't just the ones that had a bunch of doors. Of course, they had a lot of doors, but we did a slide for each one of them, and we gave them an award. And it was real cool. And I started to notice a pattern. Every single one of them does something charitable. Schools in India, veterans homelessness, veteran suicide, sexual trafficking, every single one of them did something philanthropic. And I pointed to the 900, 1,000 people there. I'm like, that's what we call a freaking clue. Okay. So I'm giving you guys that clue. Give back now. Don't wait. And your success will come faster. You don't do it for that reason, and you'll be fulfilled and you'll be happier. Okay. So that ends the first part of our program. And now we're going to talk about real estate. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for the applause.
Give them some fire, guys.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Anyway, so and I'm going to tell you, that was more important than this crap we're going to talk about now. I'm just telling you right now, it is more important. Anyway, and if you want 3 days of this, get to my boot camp. Okay. Trust me. So, rodslinks.com. And we're doing our last minute special, $197. All right. And like I said, if you don't freaking love it, I don't mean like it, love it, I'll give you your money back. All right. So let's talk about some common misconceptions or concerns. You know, how many of you, for example, by a show of hands, have done some research, you've looked to get into multifamily? How many of you have actually done some work on this? Most of you. Okay, about half of you. Okay. What are some of the obstacles? Throw in the chat. I can see the chat. What are some of the obstacles that are holding you back? What's making it difficult? So put in the chat what's holding you back. Give me examples. Capital, okay, good. Finding, okay. Focus, oh, good, okay. What else? What's on? Insurance, yeah, lack of knowledge, okay, okay. All right, good. Well, let's talk about the money for a minute, because I'm going to tell you that in what's coming, finding the deals is not what's going to be hard. It's going to be finding the money. Okay. Like Jerry Maguire, show me the money. No, but you got to have the equity and you got to have the debt. Okay. And both are hard right now. So in commercial multifamily, we call the money out of pocket equity. Okay. You're bringing equity to the deal. It's out of pocket, money, and that's the equity. And then of course there's debt. That's how you do it. And typically, in this business, you're going to raise anywhere from 30 to even as much as 50% right now of the purchase price in equity. You're going to raise that money. Okay. And of course, I teach you how to do that. By the way, what I'm going to go through here, guys, we go through it exhaustively at the boot camp. Okay. Every aspect of this I'm going through. So, I have a finance broker come and teach you about lending for an hour. I have a syndication attorney, SEC attorney, teach you about syndication. I do the rest of it, and it's high energy. You will laugh, you will cry. I'm just telling you, you'll freaking love it. But anyway, because I spend a lot of time on mindset. Okay. So you actually take action with what you learn. All right. So back to debt and equity. So you're going to raise like 35 to 50% in equity right now, because the debt loan to value has gone way down, because these large lenders know the, what's about to hit the, what. Okay. And so So you'd raise 30 to 50%, 35 to 50%, and the rest, and some of that would be down payment, some of that would be closing costs and some other fees. And then what you'll do is you'll raise that money from investors, and I teach you how to do that. And you're going to give those investors anywhere from a 6 to 8% preferred return, okay, on that money. So they're going to get a percent of the preferred return off the top before anybody gets any money. It's called a pref, okay? And you're going to need to learn all these acronyms. In the back of my manual for the boot camp, it's a whole list of glossary, and you're going to have to know all those words. So when you're talking to a broker, you sound like you know what you're talking about, right? So that's called the pref, and the investors expect that. And so what happens is you give them that preferred return. So if it's 8%, they put in 100 grand, they get 8,000 each year off the top. And then anything over above that is split, okay? And the split can be anywhere from 50-50 to 80-20 and everywhere in between. Most common is probably 70-30, okay? So that's how you entice an investor to get into the business. I mean, and to put money into the deal. And then typically a deal is held for 3 to 5 years, okay? That's the average. So your investors are going to get that 8% every year. And then there's a big payday at the end. You either sell or you refinance. Now, our model is refinance. So we will buy the asset, we will reposition it, we'll increase the value, and then we'll refinance it and give our investors all or most of their money back, okay? And then the returns are infinity, right? They don't have any money and the returns are infinity. Yeah. So that's how the business works. And some investors, some operators will sell, so they get that big check and have more money to move on to the next one. But this is called value add, and I'm seeing a lot of posting. This is called value add multifamily, and I'm going to give you some examples of why it's so freaking exciting. Okay, so if you buy residential real estate, your value is based on comparable sales, right? So you can't ramp the value like you can with commercial. So because if properties aren't selling, you can only go with the value of what other properties are selling for. Well, in our world, in the commercial multifamily, which is 5 units or larger, the value is based on the net income. It's called the net operating income, or NOI is the acronym. And any increase to that NOI is an exponential increase to the value. Let me give you a couple of examples, okay? We've got a 296 unit asset in San Antonio. By the way, we call them assets. I'm giving you nomenclature. I'm giving you verbiage so you can start learning the verbiage, okay? So we've got a 296 unit asset in San Antonio. And I'll give you 2 examples. So we had a kick butt manager, and she went and inspected all the units to make sure fire safety was where it was supposed to be. Fire extinguishers had the right dates. They weren't expired, smoke detectors, so on and so forth. Well, she discovered, I think it was 60 animals that we didn't know about, okay? Cats, dogs, whatever. And we love animals, but you're going to pay to have them, okay? And so they had to pay whatever it was, $20 a month or whatever for the pets. That was a $500,000 increase in value, okay? For 50 or 60 pets, 500,000 increase in value. So the way it works is you take that money to the bottom line, you annualize it, you figure out what it is for the year, and then you divide it by whatever the prevailing cap rate is, okay? And again, you learn all this stuff at the boot camp, but the point is, I'll give you another example. We decided to paint numbers on the parking spaces there. And we're like, hey, how would you like to be able to park right in front of your unit? It's $25 a month. We'll put a reserve sign. That is your space. We had 100 people take it. That was an $800,000 increase in value for some freaking paint, okay? That's why we love this business, guys. I'll give you one more extreme example. This is kind of an extreme one. So I had a 101 unit asset in Dayton, Ohio, and I wouldn't normally buy in Dayton. It's a little rough, but this was an expensive part of Dayton, Beaver Creek. 3 months after I bought it, it got destroyed by a tornado. I mean, destroyed, okay? Thank God nobody died. 2 people had to have surgery, and thank God no kids were hurt. But I got there, in fact, I'll give you what happened. I got there the next day, and there was a woman taking her clothes out because all the power was off. Everybody had to move. All 101 families had to move. And she told me that, and I asked her what happened. And she told me that her son was up in the bedroom sleeping. Playing on his phone. I'm sorry, playing on his phone. And the early alarm system went off, early warning, thank God, because he went down. He's like, Mom, what's going on? And by the time he woke her up, his bedroom had blown away on the top floor. True story. But anyway, we had to rebuild. Okay. And so we had all brand new units. We got $600 to $650 rent bumps. Okay. Now this is only 101 units, $600 to $650 rent bumps. Guys, that was a $10 to $12 million increase in value. Okay. This is why we love this business. Okay. Because you can force appreciation through your efforts. You fix up a property, you increase the rents, you decrease expenses, you increase the net income, and that exponentially increases the value. It's a beautiful thing. All right. So what's another big benefit to multifamily real estate? Throw it in the chat for me. What's another big benefit? Let me see it. Tax. Good job. She got it first, Shirley. Good job. Better freaking believe taxes. Listen, I make a lot of money and I haven't paid taxes in decades. Okay. And yeah. Okay. Guys, this business is extraordinary for that. Okay. You know, we have what's called cost segregation. Okay. And where we accelerate the depreciation. And there's a reason 90% of the world's millionaires either made it in real estate or own real estate now with their money that they buy the real estate with the money they made elsewhere because of the tax benefits. They're extraordinary. And so guys, you know, like I say, you're in the right place, but when I tell you your timing is so freaking good. You just got to get up to speed absolutely as fast as you can right now. Listen to my podcast, keep listening to these guys, you know, better yet, get your butt to my boot camp, but get up to speed as fast as you can. Okay. Because it's coming. I'm telling you, listen, if I hadn't been hiding underneath a rock for about 6 months in 2008 and 9, I'd be on the back of a 300-foot yacht right now. Okay. Because I would have taken advantage of it. I was burned down on real estate. I lost everything. So I started this litigation support company and we helped thousands of families save their homes. But if I hadn't been burned out on real estate, and I'm regretting it now, obviously, but I mean, the opportunities were extraordinary and they're coming again. And I don't say that lightly. They're absolutely coming. We're headed for a train is headed towards a brick wall in commercial real estate right now. And so if you're up to speed and you've built the relationships and you've got enough of an understanding of this business, you're going to be able to capitalize on it. And I'm in a lot of cash right now. I have access to a lot of cash. I just set up a fund. We're going to roll that out in the next week or two, opportunity fund. I mean, I'm gearing up right now to take advantage of this. And you should too. If you're interested in this business, I'm guessing if you're here, you are. So there you go. Get up to speed. I don't care if you learn from me, but get up to speed as fast as you can right now. Okay. So what's the difference between residential borrowing and borrowing in commercial? What's the difference? Davin, how will you know when it's come? You're going to know because the news is going to say that the sky is falling. Okay. I'm going to tell you. Okay. Got some good answers. Credit score, non-recourse. Okay. Got some good answers. Not what I'm looking for. I'll answer it in a second here. But how are you going to know is the news is going to say it's terrible. I'm going to tell you back in 08 and 9, the news said that real estate would be bad for 10 years. True story. I mean, there are articles, you could Google them. The thing about multifamily is multifamily rents exceeded pre-crash levels in less than 3 years at that huge crash. Okay. That's why we love multifamily. And when COVID hit, retail shopping centers didn't get any help. Office didn't get any help. Self-storage didn't get any help. We got hundreds of thousands of dollars in rent relief because people have to have a place to live, right? That's why we love multifamily. Anyway, so what's the difference between residential and commercial lending? Residential, it's based on your debt to income. Yes, there will be blood in the streets. I promise you it's coming. I'm certain of it. So Karen put that in the comments. Yeah, so residential is based on your debt to income. Commercial is based on the property's ability to service the debt. Okay, it's called the debt service coverage ratio. Okay, and so I'll give you an example of what that means. It's called DSCR. Okay. Let's say a property's income for the year, it's annual, it's an annual calculation. Okay. Let's say the income for the year is 125,000. Okay. That was the income, net income, NOI, net operating income. Let's say the debt was 100,000 for the year. Okay. 100,000 debt, 125,000 income. That's a 1.25% debt service coverage ratio. You tracking me? Okay. That's what most banks require to loan on an asset, to loan on a commercial property. And that's why so many deals are going south, guys. See, here's the thing. These last few years,
Fannie Mae, and Freddie Mac, which do, the recourse, non-recourse lending for most commercial real estate, lowered the loan to values down to 70 and then 60%. I bought an asset 18 months ago and I had to go 60%. We'd bought one 6 months ago at 60%. Okay. And they were both Freddie Mac. Oh no, one was Fannie, one was Freddie, but 10-year fixed rate. But see, because of that, a lot of operators started using bridge debt, okay, these last couple of years. Now, what is bridge debt? Bridge debt is very onerous debt. It's adjustable rate, okay, short term. And their payments have gone through the freaking roof, even with a rate cap. Well, you got a multi-million-dollar asset, a 2% increase in your interest rate is a big deal, okay? And so what that has done is it's killed their debt service coverage ratio, and now the rates are even higher. And so again, it's very, very hard for them to refinance. And a bunch of these deals are going south. These guys are dying. I had one guy, asset in San Antonio, his reserve payment from his lender went from $8,000 a month to $80,000 a month. Okay. That was just his reserve payment because they knew he was going to have to come up with a lot of money to be able to refinance that debt. He lost it. Big, there's big foreclosures coming down the pike. So again, get excited. I'm not trying to scare you. Okay. Get freaking excited because they're coming. Okay. So in the commercial real estate space, you're going to have to satisfy some requirements to get that debt. You're going to have a net worth equal to the loan amount. You're going to have cash flow, post-closing cash flow after closing of 10% of the loan amount. And you're going to have somebody with experience. And you're like, oh crap, how am I going to do this? Well, it's the net worth of the team. It's the liquidity of the team. It's the experience of the team. And so honestly, you could do it with one guy. You get a doctor that's bought a multifamily property that's got a high net worth and high liquidity and has done one. You can do it with one person. But again, they're looking at the team. They're not looking at you. And here's the other thing, guys. Multifamily takes money, but it doesn't have to be your money. You can raise all the money for these deals. I've got students that have bought tens of thousands of units with not a dime of their own money in them. And this is not some guru hyperbole baloney. This is real, okay? This is real. So everybody does it. They raise the money. You can even raise the earnest money. You can raise the upfront costs for the due diligence, for the financing charges. It's called the at-risk capital. And I teach you all this, how to break it out, how to, the spreadsheet, you'll need to break it out. But that's the thing. That's what's done in this business. That money is raised. Now, if somebody puts up the at-risk capital, they get a slice of the deal. You bring in a sponsor to use their net worth and their liquidity and their experience. They're going to get a small slice of the deal, typically 5 to 10%. And, I don't know about you, but I'll take 50% of something over 100% of nothing any day. Are you with me? Nod if you're still awake, please. Thank you. Okay. Better believe it. So, that's why this business is so awesome, because you can raise the money for it. And if you're an introvert and you don't love that idea, then you pair up, you do the analysis and you pair up with an extrovert that loves to make relationships. That's how this is done, guys. And you'll meet them at my boot camp. Just get to my boot camp. All right. Have I said that once or twice? Guys, I'm telling you, it's better than anybody else's out there by far. Okay. And I'm not kidding. Trust me on this. And you go to these other events, they got like 50 speakers. You don't really learn anything. You learn little bits and pieces, but you don't learn the business. This is soup to nuts, from building a team to how to pick the team, to finding a market, analyzing the market, evaluating the deals, finding the deals, underwriting the deals, financing the deals, raising all the money for the deals, syndication, joint venture, property management, and massive amounts of mindset. So you actually take action with what you learn. You'll leave so juiced, you'll be coming out of your skin, ready to conquer the world. I promise. Okay. You'll see. All right. So I talked about sponsorships. So let me ask you a question. If you buy a 100-unit property, are you going to be in the landlord business? In the chat. No, you're not. Good job, Shirley. Man, you were fast. No, you're not. Okay. You're not in the landlord business. You hire a property manager. By the way, don't go look now. Some of you will, but on Rod's links, there's a free book section. And one of the books is how to hire a third-party property management company. It's the best, period. There's nothing better on Amazon, and it's free. Okay. There's other free books there. Don't go look now. There's some questions you should ask if you're going to get into a partnership. I don't want you to miss anything, but they're all there. Okay. My best-selling book is there.
I mean, you can get this physically in the mail. It's like $6 or $7. It's freaking awesome. I've never had even a critical word about it. But there's tons of free stuff there too. And my goal setting workshop, if you didn't hear me say that at first, do the goal setting workshop if you can't come to the boot camp, because it's super important. Have your kids do it, have your spouse do it. Super important. All right. All right. Yeah, but the question is, Sergio, did you actually read it? That's the question. He says I have his book. All right. All right. All right. So you know what? I mean, it's 8:56. I'll take some questions. I mean, I could keep going, guys. There's so many pieces to this: syndication, joint venture, the difference, financing, what's available, raising money. By the way, I'm pretty sure, let me look real quick. I'm pretty sure, oh no, he took it down. No. At the bottom of my Rod's links is a 4-hour masterclass I did on raising money. It's even more detailed than my boot camp. Okay. Because I give away for free. I've written like 12 books. Some of them are this thick. I give them away for free. Okay. And you know what? What you give, you get back, right, guys? Whatever you give, you get it back. You want love, you give love. You give happiness, you give happiness. You know, you smile at people. If you want money, you just give of your time and money. And me, I just give. And it's the reason I'm so successful. That's the way it works. The people that give the most, I think, are the most successful. So that's why the boot camp is such a screaming deal. It's a fraction of what I could charge. And I just want as many people as possible to come, because this business doesn't take a lot of money. I mean, you got to be able to live. And by the way, I get asked all the time, should I quit my job and do this full time? My answer is always no. Why? Because if you don't have money coming in, you're going to have fear. What does fear do? It paralyzes. Okay. So no, keep your job, and you can do this on the side. I've got scores of students that have retired from very consuming, high paying W-2 jobs, kids, families, and they did it on the side and they were able to retire, and you can do it on the side. You know, it's a side hustle. But are you going to work hard? Yes. You're going to grind for a few years like most people won't, so you can live the rest of your freaking life like most people can't. Is it worth it? You better freaking believe it's worth it. Okay. So, all right. I'm happy to take some questions if you guys got some questions.
Let's go. Okay. We have Sean in the house. You know, let's go. Sean, do you have a question? All right.
Yeah. So I've been a warrior for a little over a year, almost a year and a half now. So thank you, Rod, for all that you do.
Thank you, brother.
I'm excited to get back to the boot camp in September. I'll see you in November. So we got a lot of catching up to do. So thank you,
brother. Yes, thank you
for all you do. You have an awesome program. So I have a question. So with everything coming and with the blood in the streets coming, has your buy box shifted at all? Meaning,
Oh yeah. Much more conservative. Oh yeah. Now's not a time to be aggressive. We don't push our numbers. You know, I saw somebody's pro forma where they were performing 5 to 10% rent bumps for the next 5 years. I'm like, really? Okay. Have you watched the news? Have you looked at inflation and gas and what's going on with rents? I'm like, come on, dude. No. So we're at like 0 for the first year and 3% rent bumps. See, what by what we're talking about, guys, is, you know, you're going to do a pro forma on the property and you're going to estimate what the rents will do, so you can show an investor what they'll do, right? And I even saw Grant Cardone. This was like a year ago. He was pro formaing 10% rent bumps for 5 years, every year for 5 years. Those investors are not going to make any money. I love Grant. Don't get me wrong. He's been on the show twice. I love him. He's funny as hell. I went to his growth con 2 months ago, paid 20 grand to be up front, which was, I'm not going to say a waste of money, but I didn't get a lot of distinctions like I do if I go to a Tony event, but it was motivating. But the bottom line is 10% rent bumps for 5 years. Really? Come on. And of course, those investors are not going to get anywhere near the returns, if any returns, because the rents are flatlining right now. But so no, there's your answer, Sean, brother. Just conservative right now. But the deals are coming. I mean, they're already here actually. As a lot, but it's really going to be a big deal when we get to the first quarter next year. I believe it's really going to start happening. Questions?
Awesome. Thank you. Good question, Sean. We have Jason. Go ahead, man.
Hey, what's up, Rod? My name is Jason Reeves. It's great to meet you online here.
Thank you.
Can't wait to see you in Florida down the road. I hope to play some golf. I love your mindset. Thanks for sharing vision boards, morning gratitude. That's just like I'm started at frequency, hitting crazy charts. Quick question for those. I know some people didn't raise their hand.
By the way, okay. I just interviewed a kid today that was 30 years old. I say he's a kid because I'm 63. Anyway, and he has the number 17 on the Inc. 500 company. Okay.
He just paid $350,000 to join a mastermind. And there's a story here. You said vision boards. And I said, do you have your goals? He pulled out a laminated card with his 5 affirmations and goals. I'm not 5, I'm sorry, with like 20. And he read them off on the freaking podcast. Okay. I have vision boards. I just showed you what I had in the back of my book for the last 23 freaking years. Okay. Now there is a picture of a guy with a 6-pack, I had my face on it before. I did not get that. Okay. But I got damn near everything else. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted, Jason.
Yeah, no, I got mine right here. I'm right with you, Rod.
The boot camp, Kenneth, is September 15th through the 17th. Go to Rod's links, the boot camp site. So now, by the way, if you want to see what hundreds of people have said about it, go to the bottom and see the unsolicited testimonials.
Yeah,
that's the second time I've interrupted you, Jason.
I know it's all good. I know how you roll, man. Let's keep it going.
Okay.
And I've been to your boot camp online. It was amazing. What you had to do, life-changing, talking to your parents, thanking them. Most incredible thing I've ever experienced from real estate was you having me do that to my parents. Go do it, and you guys will know what I'm talking about. Question right here. What will help and what helped you close your first multifamily syndication?
Team. Okay. Everybody does their first syndication with somebody else's team. Okay. You buy your first deal or two with somebody else's team, which is why the boot camp's so extraordinary. There'll be dozens of teams there. Okay. But you got to meet them. You got to see if you connect to them. And then if you can do one or two things, you're in. If you can raise money, you're in. If you can find deals, you're in. Okay. But you got to meet that team. That's how everybody does their first deal or two. And then you've got it on your resume and you can do it yourself. And you've got your own thing going on, but everybody joins someone else to get started. Okay. That's how it's done. That's why my Warriors are so freaking successful. Okay. You know, so it is a team sport, Yoshi. There you go. That's it. Bottom line. Next question. Thanks, Jason. I appreciate your kind words, brother. Thank you very much.
Hell of a question, Jason, and great comments. Lygia, if you want to come up.
Hello. Hi, Rod.
Hi.
I live in Sarasota as well.
Oh, you are? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
I moved here a year ago from California.
Well, if you give me lots of notice, just DM me on social. We'll have lunch sometime. Okay. Just give me lots of notice. That's all I ask.
All right. Sounds good.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you so much for everything. Oh my God. Amazing, inspiring. And just wanted to ask you, when you fell and when you had your fall in 2008, what did you do, or what were the main things that helped you pick yourself up?
Oh, I gave them to you. I started with reassociating with my goals. Number one. Then I made a decision to pick my sorry butt up out from under the rock I was hiding under. And then I took the first step and I started a company to help people save their homes that were in foreclosure, turned into a $10 million company that I sold for a few years ago. And then I got around people that were thriving again. I managed my focus, all the things I went through earlier. I did exactly what I shared with you. That's how I pulled out. And, I was grateful and I manifested, I visualized every day, everything I just said. Yeah. All of that stuff I went through earlier. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah. I mean, I do meditation and visualization and everything, but sometimes it just feels hard when
do you have pictures of what you want in front of you when you do it?
No.
Do you have vision boards?
Yeah.
Okay, well, use them. Okay, use them. Put the pictures in front of you so you can help visualize and be grateful as if you already have it. So you thank you, God, for this, like you already have it. That's the secret. With emotion, as much emotion as possible. Okay, super important. It works. I'm just telling you, that's how I did it. So I remember, when I first got my real estate license, I got a 4-door Granada, piece of crap. I mean, just a piece of crap. I figured I had to have a 4-door to show houses, right? But I was dating that guy. I was dating that guy's daughter I was telling you about. And he had a Corvette and he let me drive it. I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing, because I took her out in it. So I got a picture of a Corvette out of a magazine. This is before the internet. Put on the visor of the Granada. Within a year or two, I had a Corvette. Then this is when the TV show Magnum PI was out. A guy named Tom Selleck. Forgot his name now. Is it Tom Selleck? Selleck, yeah. He was the detective. He drove this Ferrari 308. I'm like, that is amazing. I got a picture of that car. Put on the visor of my Corvette. Then a year or two, I had a Maserati look just like it. Last example, I'm the guy that always wanted a Lamborghini. I had posters in my room with the Lamborghinis. My son collected models of exotic cars. He had about 30. He had a model of the exact same color and style Lamborghini that I got,
because I had pictures and I visualized it. So again, this stuff works, guys. Okay. And that house on the beach, I visualized it for 20 years. I made it happen. So
And
my
then
ex, yeah, go ahead.
Another quick question.
Okay.
How are you preparing yourself for when these deals start rolling?
I'm getting in as much cash as possible. I've put together a fund. Now I happen to be probably one of the more connected people in the industry because of my podcast, 17 million downloads. I have the largest Facebook group, 50,000 people in there. You know, my social media team kicks butt. If you go on my social, you'll see they keep me very, very busy. And so I've got reach. And so I'm able to raise money. Okay. But guys, and I teach you this at the event, I teach you how to create reach, how to build your brand, how to decide, like these guys that are hosting this thing. This is them creating reach. Anybody can do this. You've got social media. You live in the greatest time on earth to create reach. You don't need 17 million downloads. You can have 100 people that you add value to on a consistent basis. And then when you need money and you've added value to them and they know who you are, you've got credibility. If you say, hey, I've got a deal, I'd love to talk to you about it. So you can do it on a LinkedIn channel. You can do a Facebook group. You can do a YouTube. You can do Instagram. They've even got me in the damn TikTok now. I mean, you can do any of that and create reach. Okay. So that's what you want to do. You can do a meetup group. And, you know, before social media, you know, some of these people I've interviewed with 5,000 to 6,000, 7,000 doors started with pre-social media. They did a meetup group and they raised hundreds of millions of dollars, 30, 40, 50 people at a time. So, you know, there you go. I think I answered your question, but what else?
Great. Yeah, that was amazing. Before we go on to Mr. Jedediah Wick, I don't know about you guys, but I had a lot of fun tonight. I needed tonight. I think I'm going to go look in the mirror tonight. Once again, it's a Monday. I'm going to fucking get after it this week and recreate my vision board for sure. But let's put some fire in the chat. Once again, let's show Rod some love for just coming out here and really just, you know, impacting us in a positive way. So Rod, once again, thank you for coming out tonight. I mean, you know, we don't have 1,000 people here tonight, but I promise you that you at least impacted, you know.
Listen, it doesn't matter. Listen, the bottom line is, guys, I don't say this lightly. You are facing the greatest opportunity you may have this lifetime, like life-change opportunity to make money for yourself, your family, your kids, their kids, their kids, their kids, and their kids. But you got to make it happen fast. You got to get up to speed fast. So again, if you can't make my boot camp, go learn from somebody else, but get up to speed fast, because once we're in the thick of it, it's going to be too late, because you got to build relationships. Okay. This is a relationship business. You've got to have some basic understanding of the business. And I'm going to tell you, when, we have a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So I hope I see you there. But I can take a couple more questions before I call it here.
Awesome. Jedediah Wick, let's go.
Yo, Sergio, Jonathan, great job, guys. You guys are freaking killing it again. Proud to be a part of the team. Mr. Rod Khleif, it's an honor to meet you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're Sean Ricehouse, he's one of our mentors, like you are to him. So we're grateful for your mentorship, indirectly and directly. Yeah, man. My question is, it has to do with in your inner circle, as you were building a team, were you the person that started the team or joined a team? And then how did you take what you know to be your superpower? And
you don't want to use me as an example. I'm an anomaly. Let's talk about let me answer the question in the most common dynamic for my students. Okay.
Okay.
The most common dynamic for my students and boot camp attendees is they meet as many people as they can. And I force networking there, by the way. If you're an introvert and you come, you're going to have to get your butt up and meet some people, and probably within the first couple hours, not probably, definitely within the first couple hours. Now it's quick and it's painless. And typically those people that are very nervous about that come to me afterwards and they're like, man, that was great that you pushed me, and you'll have to meet 4 or 5 people within the first 2 hours. But the reason I do that is because this is a team sport. So I force it. And then I do I put a map of the United States up, and I get people to go to where they live in the United States, to meet people near where they live as well. So, I mean, we do everything we can to facilitate these connections. Anyway, that's where it starts. And anybody that starts in this business aligns with a team.
They figure out how they can add value to that team by finding deals, finding money, maybe doing underwriting, maybe doing asset management. They've got construction experience, project management experience, any management experience. So there's lots of different hats you can wear, but that's how you do it. You meet some people, you see some people you like. I teach you how to ask all the right questions when you're forming a partnership. I've got a book in Rod's links about the questions you should ask before you form a partnership. And that's what you do. You just go do your first deal or two with them. You raise some money for them, or you find them a deal, and you're off to the races, man. And then it's on your resume. That's how 99% of the people in this business do it. Okay.
So you have a book that you've put together to help people ask the right questions to build the teams. What you're saying?
It's
You
on
have
Rod's links. It's hang on one sec. Hang on one sec. I've got a whole stack of books up here. Just going to take me a second to get them, and I'll show them to you. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. It's in Rod's links, questions to ask when forming a partnership. Okay. This is another book, how to hire a third-party property management company. There's nothing better on the market. Okay. There's my, by the way, this is the manual for the boot camp. Okay. It's not fluffy. I'm not going to tease a bunch of stuff and try to upsell you. Okay. I talk about my coaching for like 30 minutes. That's the sales pitch. The rest of the time for 3 full days. By the way, Saturday goes from 9 to 9. Okay. Because everybody loves the panels when they ask questions. And so we go till 9, sometimes 10 o'clock at night. We get a bar in the back of the room. It becomes a bit of is there any kids? It becomes a bit of a shit show by about 9:30, and I'm yelling at people to shut up in the back, but it's a lot of fun. Okay. Hang on. So hang on. And so there's a bunch of good free books there. I don't have the one I was going to show you. There's something called the Tool Book, which is like a due diligence checklist on steroids. Of course, you can pay $6 or $7 and get this, which is, I got to say, it's bestseller in 3 categories. It cost me about $20 to send it to you. Okay. But it's okay.
It's on audiobook.
It's on audio too. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Anyway,
my last question, sir, is what makes you an anomaly? Because you know that about yourself.
Well, because I've been in the business since I was 18, brother. So of course I started by myself. Okay. But that's not the normal way. Okay. And so I hired somebody that had experience, put him on my team, on my payroll, and started by myself. But that's very unusual. Okay. I mean, I've owned 2,000 houses, that I've rented long term. I've owned, I own thousands of apartment units. So, I'm not a good example is my point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
Awesome. Let's go to Josh. If you're okay, Jason, just to give the chance to, to the ladies here in the room. But Josh, do you have a question?
Yes, I do, Rod. I'm excited to see you in Orlando in September.
Oh, good. You're coming. Wonderful.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have the whole team there.
Oh,
so,
wonderful.
Rod, we do have a question in the chat from our partner, Melly. It says, do you recommend buying now or waiting for the forthcoming?
I hear that question. I hear that question almost every single day. I wrote an LOI today. If you don't know what that is, it starts the contract process, and I'm writing one tomorrow. If the numbers make sense, it doesn't matter when you buy. Okay, you buy. Okay, and now, are there going to be exponential deals coming? Yes, but if the numbers make sense and it's a great deal, then don't wait. People say, should I wait to buy real estate? I say, no, buy real estate and wait, right? That's not my lines. I stole that from somebody, but anyway, but listen, this business is primarily numbers. It's primarily empirical. You get the numbers right. You ask all the right questions. Pretty hard to make a big mistake. Okay. It really is. So yeah, don't wait. But here's the thing, you may kiss a lot of frogs before you find a deal, but that's how you learn. I mean, that's how you learn the business, right? So, the more you look at, the better you're going to get. So like 1 or 2 more, and then I got a face plant, guys. I'm old and tired.
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you.
Guys. Let's go really quick. Let's be short, guys, because respecting Rod's time. So let's go, Shirley, and welcome.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Rod. Thank you so much for pouring into us tonight. It's been amazing.
Thank you, Shirley. You have given me energy tonight because you were nodding and agreeing with all my hyperbole, and I appreciate you. You gave me energy. Thank you.
We appreciate you too as well, Rod. So really quick, can you tell us of one time where you had a big challenge or a fall, and how did you bounce back up?
Well, I think I gave you a pretty good example, Shirley. I lost 50 million.
I haven't met anybody that lost that much yet. So if you find somebody, let me know so I can feel better about myself. But yeah, no, the answer is that was it. And you know, and I think Ligia asked me how I did. I think it was Ligia asked me how I came back, and it was really all those things I said. It was, you know, and I know that sounds like, you know, seminar speak, but it wasn't. That's what I did. Okay, what I got to get back to my goals. What do I want, and why do I want it? I got to, you know, pick myself up, take that first step, go make something happen, made a decision first, okay, to pick myself back up. Then I took that first step, got around people that were killing it, maintained my focus, didn't get caught up in Netflix and a bunch of other crap, and took massive freaking action and manifested through gratitude. I did all those things, Shirley. Yeah. So
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay,
All right,
guys, let's go
one
for the
more,
last
and then I'm
question.
gonna
Yeah,
go.
exactly. Let's go. Jason, let's finish with you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
two quick questions, and yeah, Rod, I'm only
All
up to losing 2 million through business adventures, but hey, that's
I'm
how you
sorry.
learn and
I'm sorry.
you grow from that. No, it's part of the process. You know, I've
Yeah.
made enough to put it in real estate. That's the end of that story.
We fail our way to success, brother. That's how it
Oh
works.
yeah. And so I'm great at networking, great at meeting people
Right.
live, especially. What they always are interested in investing, have money, high net worths, but to get them later, to bring them a deal, they fizzle out. How do you
got to
complete
keep
the
them
cycle?
warm. You got to keep them warm. And we talk about this at the boot camp. So, you know, you've got to continue to educate them. You send them articles about whatever market you're interested in. We send emails every single week. It's a lot of work. You don't have to do it every week, but you know, you've got to continue to add value to them. Okay. Those that add the most value are the most successful. Okay. So, you know, like if you start a meetup like this, you bring in people like me, and just by hosting it, you're perceived as an expert because you bring in experts. You can do the same thing, but you could add value to them in some fashion, educate them, you know, call them regularly, but you got to keep them warm. That's the key.
And do you play golf?
No.
You're in Florida.
I don't even play a mean game of putt-putt. I don't
All
have the
right, fair
patience
enough.
for it. Yeah, thank you though.
There you go.
I should, because I probably worth a lot more money.
I'm working to bridge the gap, playing golf, real estate investing, business happens on the golf course, and networking on the golf course.
It
There's
does.
so
It
many
does.
private play golf courses are like 80,000 just for a membership. You know, it's the network you tap into. It's another network for that.
Absolutely. Anywhere you can talk to people, you can raise money. Guys, thank you for the privilege of being able to talk to you. I hope I see some of your smiling faces in Orlando. If I do, make sure you come up and say hi, because there'll be over 1,000 people there. And go make it. If I don't see you, just go make it happen. Don't let this be entertainment. Actually go take action and make something happen for yourselves. Okay. Be well.
Thanks,
Love
Rod.
you. Love you
Thank
guys.
you, Rod.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
You bet. All right, you guys take care. See you.
Have a good night. Holy crap. That was great. That was great. Before you guys leave, we won't be having networking tonight. This was, if you read the email, this was a bonus call. So we'll still have our traditional call tomorrow with another great speaker. And then we'll do the breakout rooms and all that, the usual tomorrow. But today, man, a lot of people showed up. We appreciate y'all showing up. I was a little scared just because it was a Monday and, you know, it kind of throws off the normal schedule. So we appreciate you guys showing up. Without you guys, I mean, you know, this ain't possible. So once again, thank you so much for those of y'all that showed up. We had like more than 50 people. So that was good. John, you want to say something?
Awesome. No. Thank you guys for being here. So I'll see all of you tomorrow. So we'll do some networking. We have an amazing speaker coming up. You guys will receive an email. So just stay tuned. And then I'll see all of you guys tomorrow. Thank you for being here. It was an amazing night.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good night. Good night.
Thank you. That was awesome.